Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host, and today we're unpacking a document that, honestly, on the surface, feels incredibly low stakes.
Oh, totally.
Like, it is a 9-panel storyboard, brightly colored, full of cartoon animals, and it has this little copyright stamp at the bottom that reads, Burton's English School.
Yeah, it really does not scream intellectual depth.
Right. If you saw this out of context, you would 100% assume it was like a placemat at a kid-friendly diner.
Oh, absolutely.
You know the type. A connect-the-dots game, a maze in the corner, maybe a couple of grease stains from a burger.
It captures that aesthetic perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely disarming. You see it and your brain just immediately goes, okay, simple. A is for apple, B is for bear.
But that's the trap. Because once I actually sat down and started looking at the narrative arc here, and there is a very strict, deliberate narrative arc, I realized this isn't just about teaching English vocabulary.
Got it all.
It's doing something much, much more complex with cultural identity. So the source we're looking at is titled Story Plays. And our mission for this deep dive is to decode exactly how this curriculum maps Western folklore onto Korean mythology, all to teach language.
It is a classic example of what we call cultural scaffolding in pedagogy, but taken to a really surreal extreme.
Yes, surreal is the word.
You aren't just seeing random clip art. You are
Mhm.
looking at a deliberate collision between the Brothers Grimm and the Dangun Foundation myth of Korea.
And that collision is exactly what we need to unpack for you today. Because if you're a kid sitting in this classroom, you aren't just memorizing words. You're being told a story about how your native culture survives and even thrives inside a new language.
Exactly.
So let's just start right where the chart starts, panel number 1.
Ah, the Hansel and Gretel panel.
Right. Visually, it checks all the boxes for the classic Western fairy tale. You've got the gingerbread house, which is, the universal symbol for temptation in these stories.
Yeah.
You have the witch on the left, and you have the 2 kids. But looking closely at the source image, these aren't the German peasant children we know from the storybooks.
They've been modernized.
Yeah.
Heavily modernized.
Yeah, Gretel is wearing this bright blue backpack. She looks like she's ready for the first day of elementary school, not a walk into the Black Forest to be abandoned by her parents.
Right.
And Hansel, this is the detail that really caught my eye. He's wearing a sash with a badge that reads W-E-B-A.
Weeba. And that is a crucial detail for context here. In the ecosystem of English academies in Korea, the Hagwon's class names are often these stylized acronyms or unique rank identifiers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Weeba is likely the name of the class level or the specific curriculum track that these kids are on.
So by putting that badge right on Hansel, the artist is basically breaking the fourth wall immediately.
Exactly.
They're saying, these aren't characters from a book, these are you. The student is Hansel.
It's a complete avatar system. The student steps directly into the shoes of the character. And if you look at the instruction in the speech bubble between them, it doesn't say hello or run or anything basic. It says reflect.
Which is a pretty heavy cognitive command for a 6-year-old. Just reflect.
It really is. But it signals that this isn't passive learning.
Mm-hmm.
Panel 1 is the orientation phase. Look at the song assignments listed there, what's your name, and this little light of mine.
Right.
It's all about establishing selfhood before you enter the metaphorical woods of a foreign language.
But there's one other intruder in this panel, though. Down in the bottom left corner,
Oh, yeah.
there's this blue, horned, furry monster grinning right at the viewer. He definitely doesn't look like he belongs in the Grimm fairy tale universe. He looks like he wandered in from a totally different franchise.
He represents the local context. He looks very much like a dokaibi.
A Korean goblin.
Exactly. They are mischievous nature spirits in Korean folklore. They aren't inherently evil, like the Western witch might be, but they are chaotic. And placing him here, right at the start, is a massive signal.
Setting the ground rules.
It tells the learner, hey, the rules of this world are going to be mixed. You have the Western witch and the Korean goblin occupying the exact same frame.
And that really sets the stage for the weirdness that follows, because we move from the gingerbread house in panel 1, effectively off a cliff, into panel 2.
A very steep cliff.
The title of panel 2 is What Do You See? And we have left Germany completely.
You have teleported.
We are now in a dark cave. There is a large brown bear and a very concerned-looking tiger, and they are surrounded by garlic bulbs and these green leafy plants. Now, if you don't know Korean history, this just looks like a random assortment of items, like here's a bear, here's some garlic.
But the text in the panel gives it away instantly. It explicitly says, Dangun is Korea's foundation myth. This is the story of Unyo.
Okay, walk us through that. Because to a Western listener, a bear and a tiger hanging out in a cave with vegetables sounds like a bizarre fever dream, but this is deeply foundational,
This
right?
is the origin story of the Korean people. So, long story short, a tiger and a bear prayed to the divine king, Kwannon, because they wanted to become human.
Okay.
Kwannon gave them a test. They had to stay inside a cave for 100 days, avoiding all sunlight, and they could only eat sacred food, which was mugwort and garlic.
A localized keto diet from hell.
Ha! Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
An extreme endurance test.
Yeah.
And notice the song pairing the curriculum uses here. Brown bear, what do you see?
Oh, that's the Eric Carle classic. Literally every preschooler in the English-speaking world knows that book.
Right. But think about the pedagogical brilliance of that pairing. Brown bear is a highly repetitive, rhythmic English chant. It's easy, it's safe,
Yeah.
but they've attached it to this deep, complex cultural myth about suffering and transformation.
So they're using the Brown Bear song as a hook to basically drag the kid through the dang-gun myth concepts in English.
Precisely. This is what we call schema theory in education. You take something the child knows deeply. In this case, I know the story of the bear and the tiger because I'm Korean, and you attach the new, scary information to it.
The English vocabulary.
Yes. If you just taught the words bear and tiger as isolated vocabulary flashcards, they don't stick. But if you teach them as the actual characters from the Dangun myth, suddenly the English has emotional weight.
And the story in the panels actually progresses too. It doesn't just show the setup. Panel 3 is titled, Oh No, and it depicts the failure.
The tragedy of the myth.
We see a moon cycle icon labeled 100 days later. The bear is sitting there looking a little dazed but stable. But the tiger is sprinting out of the cave, and there are actual tears streaming down its face.
The tiger couldn't handle the garlic.
It completely failed the vibe check.
In the myth, the tiger gives up. It creates this dichotomy in Korean culture, where the bear represents patience, endurance, and maternal strength, while the tiger represents raw power, but a total lack of discipline.
And the song assignment here is spooky spooky, which is interesting. Why spooky?
Well, on a literal level, caves are scary places.
Yeah.
But I think it also validates the difficulty of the learning process. Learning a language is hard. Staying in the cave is hard. The tiger running away crying. That's a feeling every single student has had.
That feeling of, I want to quit, I don't want to do this anymore.
Exactly. So the tiger becomes the student who drops out, or the part of the student that wants to give up. The chart is showing the consequences of not having grit. If you leave the cave, you remain a tiger. You don't transform.
And that brings us to the transformation in panel 4. It's titled Mom and Cub. And the bear has visibly changed. She's standing on 2 legs. She's wearing a pink apron. She looks, well, domesticated.
In the original myth, the bear actually becomes a beautiful human woman, Onyeo, and marries the god king. Here, for the sake of visual continuity for little kids, they've kept her as a bear, but given her the markers of humanity.
Upright posture, clothing, a child.
Right. It's the mom archetype. She passed the test. She is transformed. This is the goal of the curriculum. If you endure the cave of studying, you evolve. You gain a new identity.
But then the curriculum takes a hard left turn into surrealism. Panel 5 is titled Jelly Beans.
This is where logic kind of breaks down completely unless you view it as a dream sequence.
It's so chaotic. You have the bear mom and her cub, but now they are just hanging out with a giant gingerbread man, a snake hanging from a tree, and a literal dragon. And the background is this misty purple void.
This is the mashup phase. We've established the Western characters like the gingerbread man from panel 1 and the Eastern characters like the bear and the dragon. Now, they're finally inhabiting the same space. They aren't separated by panels anymore.
And the song for this panel is Head, Shoulders, Knees.
Physicality, TPR, or total physical response. It's a widely used teaching method where you link language directly to physical movement.
Right, touching your head, touching your toes.
Exactly. By having these disparate mythical creatures all doing head, shoulders, knees, and toes together, it creates a unified community through action. It doesn't matter if you're a Korean dragon or a German cookie, everyone has knees. Everyone follows the commands.
It creates a totally leveling playing field, but I really want to talk about panel 6. Because if panel 5 is a party, panel 6 feels like a warning label.
Panel 6 is fascinatingly dark for a children's English chart.
It's titled Hop and Swim.
Oh.
We're at a riverbank. There's a boy fishing standard textbook imagery, right? But rising out of the water is a blue, semi-transparent, ghostly figure. And the text right next to it is very specific. It says, Mulgwishin equals water spirit.
This is such a build inclusion. A Mulgwishin isn't just a friendly Casper the Ghost. In Korean folklore, these are the spirits of people who drowned.
Oh,
Yeah, they are water ghosts known for pulling living people down into the depths to join them, just so they aren't lonely.
that is genuinely terrifying. Why put a drowning ghost in a vocabulary chart for elementary schoolers? Isn't that just nightmare fuel?
It serves a dual purpose. First, it's a built-in safety warning. Korean parents often invoke the Mulgwishin to keep kids away from dangerous rivers. Don't go too deep. The Mulgwishin will get you. So the concept is already very familiar to the kids.
Ah, so it acts as a cultural safety rail.
Right. But then look at the song paired with it. Walking, walking. It's a cheerful, active song. Walking, walking, hop, hop, hop. They are juxtaposing a lethal folklore entity with a cheerful action verb song.
It feels like it's defanging the monster a bit.
Or it's linguistic empowerment. By giving the child the English word water spirit and equating it directly to Mulgwishin, they're giving the child the tools to explain their own specific fears to an English speaker.
That's powerful.
It validates their local folklore. It tells them, your ghosts exist in English too.
That's a really important point. Often, learning a second language feels like you have to leave your entire culture at the door. Like, we don't talk about water ghosts here. We only talk about London Bridge falling down. But this chart is explicitly saying, no, bring the ghosts. We have words for them.
Exactly. It builds massive confidence. It tells the student that their reality can be translated.
Moving to panel 7, we're back to bears. We just cannot escape the bears in this curriculum.
Bears are the ultimate through line here.
The title is The Three Bears. We see Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear. Now, to me, and probably to most Western listeners, this is instantly Goldilocks. It's the setup for the porridge theft.
That's the Western reading, for sure. But look closely at the little floating book cover in the panel. It actually has Korean text on it.
I see it. What does it say?
It's the lyrics to Gamsemari, the Korean Three Bears song.
Okay, we need some context. Just how big is this song?
It is the song. It is the old MacDonald or Itsy Bitsy Spider of Korea. Every single Korean person, young or old, can sing Gamsemari. The lyrics are very simple. Papa Bear is fat, Mama Bear is skinny, Baby Bear is so cute.
So when a Korean child looks at this panel, they don't see Goldilocks at all. They see their absolute favorite nursery rhyme.
Bitsy home. But the label at the top says The Three Bears, the English title. This is the perfect cultural bridge. You use a visual that works perfectly in both cultures.
Oh, that's smart.
The Western teacher sees Goldilocks, the Korean student sees Gamsemari. They meet exactly in the middle.
It's literally a Venn diagram of bears.
It's incredibly elegant design. It prevents the student from feeling alienated. They think, oh, English speakers have three bears too. Okay, I understand this concept. It lowers the affective filter, that barrier of anxiety that stops people from absorbing a new language.
And then we hit panel 8. We go from traditional folk songs to, well, a global viral outbreak.
I know exactly what's coming.
The panel is titled, We Are Hungry. The bears from the last panel are eating fish, but swimming in the water right below them is a shark. And the song listed is Baby Shark.
It was inevitable.
It almost feels like a joke, but is there a real pedagogical reason it's here besides just, kids like the song?
Actually, Baby Shark is the ultimate example of the cultural hybridity this entire chart is trying to teach. Think about the history of it. It started as an old campfire song in the U.S., but it was repackaged, animated, and turned into a global phenomenon by Pinkfong, which is a Korean educational company.
Right. I always forget that it's technically a Korean export.
It is a Western song filtered through Korean pop pedagogy and then exported back to the entire world. It is arguably the most successful example of Konglish or Korean English hybrid culture in history. It belongs on this chart more than anything else.
It validates the loop. It shows that culture isn't just a one-way street from west to east. Korea can take a concept, completely remix it, and sell it back to the West.
And for the student sitting in that classroom, it's a huge point of pride. They think, I know this song, this is our song, but the whole world sings it in English. It makes English feel significantly less foreign.
That brings us to the finale, panel 9, titled, What Is It? And this is where the narrative culminates in a way that I found genuinely surprising.
It's the boss battle.
It really is. We have a scene inside a house. The tiger, the exact same one who failed the cave test back in panel 3, is back. He's peering into the room through a window. Inside, we have the witch from panel 1. She's holding a piece of orange fruit. And over in the corner, there is a physical trap with a gingerbread man stuck inside it.
There is so much going on in this single frame. We have to decode the persimmon reference first to understand it.
The orange fruit is a persimmon.
Yes, there's a very famous Korean folktale called The Tiger and the Persimmon. In the story, a tiger comes down from the mountain to a village to eat someone. He overhears a mother trying to stop her baby from crying. She says, "Stop crying, here comes a tiger." But the baby keeps crying. The tiger is shocked. He thinks, "I'm a terrifying beast, why isn't the baby stopping?"
The tiger's ego takes a massive hit.
Huge hit. Then the mother says, "Look, here is a dried persimmon." And the baby stops crying immediately because they just want the sweet treat. But the tiger, listening outside, totally misunderstands the situation.
Oh, no.
He thinks, "What on earth is a dried persimmon? It silenced the baby when I couldn't. It must be a monster even scarier than me."
So the tiger becomes terrified of the fruit itself?
He is absolutely petrified of it. Now look at panel 9 again. Who is holding the persimmon?
The witch is holding it.
The Western villain.
Oh.
She is wielding the specific cultural object that terrifies the Korean villain.
That is such a power move.
It's a total synthesis of knowledge. The witch, and by extension the English language, has adopted the local knowledge. She knows the tiger's weakness.
And what about the gingerbread man? He's just sitting there in a trap.
This is the really provocative part of the image. The gingerbread man is bait. The tiger is looking at him. Remember, the tiger wanted to be human back in the cave, but he failed because he couldn't endure eating just garlic. Now he sees a man made entirely of delicious food.
Oh, wow. If he eats the gingerbread man, does he think he'll finally become human?
That's the heavy implication. It's an elaborate trap set by the witch using Western bait, the gingerbread man, and a Korean weapon, the persimmon, to capture or control the tiger.
That is incredibly layered for a children's vocabulary chart. It really suggests that if you master both cultures, if you know the witch and you know the persimmon, you are the one who holds the power.
Exactly. If you only know the Western story, you don't understand why the tiger is scared of a piece of fruit. If you only know the Korean story, you don't know who the witch is or why a cookie is alive. You have to be bilingual and bicultural to understand the scene. That is the ultimate goal of the entire curriculum.
It's not just about learning vocabulary, it's about achieving cultural literacy.
It's about becoming a new kind of person, someone who can successfully navigate both the German forest and the Korean cave.
So when we take a step back and look at these 9 panels as a whole, it really is a roadmap.
It is. It's essentially the hero's journey for a language learner. Stage 1 is identity establishing who you are with the badge in the mirror. Stage 2 is the challenge, the cave, the realization that learning is painful and hard.
Right.
Stage 3 is transformation, becoming the mom or the disciplined student who endures. Stage 4 is integration, mixing with the other culture, meeting the ghosts and the dragons. And Stage 5 is mastery, using the tools of both cultures to control your environment, just like the witch with the persimmon.
It really reframes what we typically think of as basic education. We tend to think of ESL materials as just purely functional. You know, where is the bathroom or how much is the coffee? But this deep dive suggests that even at the very earliest levels, we are messing with deep foundational identity formation.
Language is never just a tool, it's a lens. And when you give a child a new lens, you inevitably change how they see their own history. But what's great here is that this chart respects that history. It doesn't pave over the Dangun myth. It builds a gingerbread house right next to it.
I think that's a really respectful way to view it. It's not about replacement, it's about expansion.
Expansion and integration. It creates a third space where both of these rich cultures exist simultaneously.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final detail from that last panel to mull over. We talked about the witch and the tiger and the power dynamic there, but look closely at the gingerbread man inside the trap. He's smiling.
He is. He's grinning.
Why is he smiling? He's literally about to be eaten by a tiger or cooked by a witch. He's trapped.
That's the lingering question of the whole piece. Is he smiling because he's just clueless? Or is he smiling because he knows he's the bridge? In a weird way, he is the only character who can travel between the stomach of the Western child and the stomach of the Eastern tiger.
He is the universal snack.
He's the universal currency. Maybe he knows that being consumed is his destiny, regardless of the culture. Or maybe, just maybe, he knows the tiger is too afraid of the persimmon to ever make a move, and he's actually the safest person in the entire room.
The gingerbread man playing 4D chess? I really like that thought.
Never underestimate the cookie.
On that note, we're going to close the book on story plays. It's been a fascinating look at how we build bridges between worlds, one cartoon panel at a time.
Keep looking closely at those placemats. You never know what's hidden in them.
You never know what myths you might find. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you on the next one.